This is Nerf, a real-life first-person shooter, where the object is to tag your opponents with foam darts. I was able to talk with some Nerf YouTube personalities, and they told me how they got into the hobby, as well as some of their thoughts on the community.
So I had a lot of blasters growing up. I think like a hamper and a half full of blasters, and I used to have friends come over and we would just shoot Nerf darts at each other inside the house, outside the house, you know, both open at the same time, and it was a lot of fun, and it's kind of like a big part of my childhood. So when I went to college and HVZ was first brought there, I called up my mom and I was like, "Mom, where's all the Nerf blasters that I had?" And she had given them away. So I had to go out and buy a new one. But the thing about HVZ was, like, I've seen comics and stuff that are like, when you go, you know, you played Pokemon as a kid and it was awesome. Then you go to middle school and it kind of faded out. And then high school is like, Pokemon, what? Then when you get to college, people were like, "Oh man, Pokemon's awesome. Like, yeah, we have these big groups and stuff. Like, come join us." Nerf is kind of like that. Like, it disappears, at least in my life, it disappeared, and then it just came back in this big nostalgic rush with HVZ, and you find other people who are like, "Oh, Nerf blasters, like, oh my gosh, I had those as a kid," and you get to play with them in college. So, meshed together in a way, and that's what drew me in, is I refound that nostalgic wonderment of my childhood, and it's just been going on ever since.
I think the community aspect of Nerf is what draws a lot of people in, myself included. If I showed up to a group of strangers, played Nerf, and didn't speak to them and didn't connect to them on a human or emotional level at all, I don't think I'd go back. Nerfing is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's Nerfing with people that are like-minded. It's typically the same types of people that show up to Nerf wars. There are outliers every once in a while, but it's usually them just pretending to be normal until they sort of unveil their mask to be around other nerds and kind of interesting, really unique, cool, comfortable people.
Dr. Jack Croxton, a psychology professor at SUNY Fredonia, was able to tell me more about why people are drawn into hobbies like Nerf.
Well, I think from a social psychological perspective, I would say there are a couple things going on here. I think number one is the community that it provides. I mean, there's lots of research in social psychology showing that we're attracted to other people who have similar interests to us. So I think in a way it's rewarding to be with a group of people who like to play these types of games. Because I'm sure friendships form outside of just, you know, playing the game. These people become your friends and people that you can talk to. So I think sometimes it gives people a sense of identity. And in particular, something like this that seems, you know, rather unique, I think that can also develop a kind of cohesiveness in the group where, you know, people do feel a certain bond with each other by getting involved in these types of activities.
I know people from around the world that I've never met that I feel like I have better relationships with than people I actually knew in person in high school, which is really weird to say. But there's people in Australia, there's people in California, there's people in New York that I care about more than people I did in my hometown in high school.
I think each little subdivision of the Nerf communities online are a little bit different. The modification community is much different than the HVZ, and then there are some casuals, or that might be an offensive term depending who you are. But generally speaking, other than a few modification communities, the Nerf communities online are extremely welcoming because they're all kind of nerds. I don't use that word as a derogatory term because I self-identify as a nerd, and because it's just a giant collection of nerds who are used to being judged by their peers and by normal people in society. We're very open-minded, so if anybody comes in and they're a little bit quirky, they fit right in and they feel really comfortable. So I really dig the Nerf communities compared to a lot of other hobbies that I'm involved in with more ordinary or normal people.
The social and local communities are important because you get to meet people face to face. Let's face it, chatting online is just not the same as chatting face to face. So you want to go out, you want to meet these people, because up until then you've probably only seen their picture on Facebook. So you meet them in face, listen to them talk, you can show off your work, you can compare blaster performance as well, see how they stack up to what you've done, and you just have a good chat. I mean, you can have a really, really good chat in person. Online chat is still pretty good, but nothing will beat the efficiency of a face-to-face chat where you can actually gauge and measure a person's body language.
So I think in a way it's fulfilling for people to do this type of thing. And then the other thing is, I think that the game itself can be a kind of catharsis, you know, because sometimes, you know, we get frustrated about things and we just want to be able to vent a little bit. So playing the game is an opportunity to do that, but you're not harming anybody, you know, so you're not actually going out and, you know, shooting somebody. And yet, you know, we all, I think, sometimes have a certain amount of pent-up aggression. And so this is a way just to kind of let it out in a very harmless sort of way. So I think, you know, we all enjoy playing different kinds of games, and I see this as a kind of a game. You know, maybe not that much different from, you know, baseball or football or whatever it might be. So I think people like to, I think they like to play sports. I think people like to release a certain amount of energy, which I think is provided by this kind of sport. And then I think also the opportunity for, as I said before, for the opportunity to be in a cohesive group, be with other people who are like-minded.
I think the main appeals are it allows you to release stress and aggression without causing bodily harm, property damage, and the chance of being arrested. For nerfing specifically, it allows you to play basically anywhere you want. College campuses, public parks, and it means anyone can play. Like, you can have little kids come to your event and they get to be really excited about finding other people who play with Nerf blasters, and for the older people, it gives them a way to get exercise. It allows them to, you know, be a kid again, and you can't really do that with paintball or airsoft, which some people will say, you know, that's violence without harm, but for the Nerfing hobby itself, it allows you to play where you want. It allows more age ranges to play with you, which means that you have more people coming to your events, which can mean they are more fun. So those are kind of like the Nerf-specific stuff.
Violence without harm. Until you want to harm somebody, then you melee them. Boom! Okay, goodbye. That's a joke. Don't hit anybody with a Nerf gun. That's harmful.